Hello, Marky Dragon, also known as Marcus Eikenberry in real life. And I got a message here from Joe. And Joe says that he considers himself to be an entrepreneur, that he went to college and got into buying property and renting the houses out to his friends. That's a great, solid business idea, unless you're in Detroit and car manufacturing dries up and everybody moves out. It's the classic problem out there in Detroit where they have so many vacancies. Actually, here in Florida, there's a lot of vacancies as well. I have this beautiful home at 1/3 of the cost of what it would have cost me back up in Portland, Oregon, where I came from. And as a bonus, that's just talking the size of the house and the amenities. As a bonus, I live on a lake. I got a lake out front. I got a pond, or a lake out back and a pond out front. And anyway, it's a pretty solid plan. So good for you on being able to do that. He's tried to get into a few other ideas to generate income, but not had much success. Two questions are, he says that his wife is the complete opposite of him and is very frugal and does not want to take any risks. And I want to know if my wife is like this and how does she go along with my new ventures? And then there's another question which I'll get to as well. So let me just say that opposites attract, and that may be why, your wife, you're more of entrepreneurs are risk takers, and that may be why your wife is not. And especially if you've seen some of my videos, especially if she's seen some of my videos, she may be worried that, you guys may go completely bust with an entrepreneurial idea. And it's true, you can. And so basically, there are a few things you need to do to insulate yourself to quell her fears. And there are, her concerns are legitimate. And your ability to generate income and try new ideas are also things that are legitimate. And so you need to figure out how to make that work together. In the past, what I did was when I decided that I was going to quit working for someone else because I was making much more money on my own, I put together a bank account, putting in income for 6 months worth of income. And this is back when the job market was a lot better. So now you'd have to put in income for like 2 freaking years or something like that if you had to go out and get a job. And but back then, 6 months was more than sufficient, because really back then, anytime I went and applied at a job, I got almost every job that I actually interviewed for, and was able to name my wage within the appropriate range. But times are much different now. And so you can quell her fears by putting aside money that wouldn't be touched, that would be used for living expenses if the whole thing came crashing down and you needed to go back and look for a job. So that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is making sure that your retirement is fully funded and that you set yourself up to survive a bankruptcy. And now, I'm not saying that you intend on bankrupting, but bankruptcy happens even to the best of us who are best intentioned. I have claimed bankruptcy twice with all of my endeavors, and the first one was pretty small. It was really on, I think, about $180,000 in debt, and half of that was my house, which because we did Chapter 13, we were able to save the house and everything, and that made my wife at the time very nervous about any other entrepreneurial ventures that we were doing, and how I came up with the method of having the money there to survive going, if things went wrong. I never intended on going bankrupt again, but things went south in divorce with that that I lost the company and everything, and then the company didn't pay its bills, and I had actually wanted to shut down the company, do a proper shutdown, but I was forced to not do that and forced to turn it over to my ex-wife, and then I ended up being sued for all kinds of money, and ended up having to go bankrupt again. This time on $1.4 million worth of debt. The company was pretty big to have that kind of debt. But anyway, so you need to discuss this with her and figure out what her fears are and everything, and have answers for each one of those concerns. And if it's not fair to say, well, I just have a feeling that I don't like it. That's not fair. That's changing you. But it is fair to say, well, I worry about us losing the roof over our head. That's a very fair statement. I worry about, that our kids are in private school right now, and how do we maintain that if things go south? Well, that's another valid concern. And, how do you protect money that you put away in the event that things don't go well? How do you protect that money to keep it from being absorbed by bankruptcy? And so there are some things that you can do, but there's the bankruptcy laws don't allow you to go really wide with everything and have a massive amount of cash. They do allow you to have a fair amount, but not a massive amount. But you can do things like putting money into retirement. You can put money into schooling funds for your kids, a trust or whatnot. And you could put together a trust that had all the money for the schooling for the kids, through college or whatnot. And, I know a lot of these things are hard to obtain. I'm talking about money to make money, and you're trying to probably come up with another income source, and that's hard. So, you need to listen to your wife, and you need to address her concerns or objections or concerns that need to be addressed. And if you can address all of those, you will ease her mind, and she will be supportive of you. So then your second question is when during your career did you say, okay, I need to get rid of this business that is doing poorly and cutting my losses? So I think that I tend to take things a little bit too far, personally, before I cut losses, and that's because I have such an investment in them, whether it's personal time or maybe even money, and but there is a point to where you have to be what is that when you predict the future? Is that clairvoyant, or is that no? I don't know what they call that, but somebody who predicts the future. That's what you have to be. And so you have to say, okay, I think that blah is going to happen. And you have to work on things based on that premise. So look forward as far as you can and see where that is going to be. And don't put in fluff in there. You need to actually base it in reality. And so if based in reality, it's not going well and it's going to be your demise, it's time to cut it. Also, you want to keep your businesses separate. So the, like your rental properties, you might have each rental property under its own LLC. And the reason for that is that somebody could sue you at one for whatever, because a step broke and they fell through, or because they did something dumb and they sue you anyway. I mean, and so each one needs to be insulated from the others. And, whatever business that you put together, that you're like going, well, maybe this needs to go, it should be insulated from the other stuff as well. You are the binding factor in between all of them, and they may be able to pierce the corporate veil on that, because they could, show that you're using private funds on these things and everything, but you need to have that separation. to protect yourself. So, I have, let's see, what method do I use? Basically, if an item is not producing income, then what value does it have? Does it provide a value to something else that you're doing, and so then it indirectly generates that income? Does it, how does this all work out? What does this end up looking like? And it you just got to kind of predict the future and know that what is going to happen, and make good decisions. And I think that is one of the key items of a good entrepreneur, is seeing what's coming down the pipeline. I've done this a few times. In fact, a few times I've called it out in video. I've said, you know what, this is coming. And my best example of that was back in 2007, when I said that video was going to be the new way of marketing, and that video was going to be huge. And I posted that on YouTube. And I'm very proud that I saw that in the future. And here I am. And I believe that video is one of the most incredibly powerful mediums for getting your message out. And so, anyway, okay, that's it. I hope that helps. So, Joe, good luck to you, and good luck to working things out with your wife. But just remember that any of her objections are just concerns that need to be addressed. And when somebody says, I feel scared about what you're doing, or whatever, you can't object to feelings. You can only address the roots behind it, because everybody is entitled to their own feelings, and they're not improper having them. And you can't dispute how somebody feels. All you can do is work on what causes that feeling. So, hope that helps. I'm Murky Dragon. Take care.